interesting. And the big sort of thing with this race to me is going to be if Andy's experience in the vanilla game gives him the advantage, or if Eunos' experience with randomizers gives him the advantage.
So one thing that will play a part in that is if Swamp Palace is required, then Andy loses the advantage of his ability to hover over pits. But if Swamp Palace is not one of the required crystals and they don't have to fight Argus, Andy may be able to skip the hookshot altogether and just hover over any pit that he needs to.
All right, and with that, we are off and running here. We're going to be picking up our first chest, which is just a lowly heart piece. So we're not going to get any huge advantages starting off with the chest in Link's house. As you've seen probably before here on any of these randomizers, the escape is going to sort of play out similarly. We're going to go ahead, we're going to get the Uncle's sword. Normally you get the sword and the shield here, but we're just going to get the sword. And that sword is one of the few only guarantees you're going to get here in the randomizer. After that, all the chests are randomized, and dungeon locations and stuff, those are all going to be the same. But the chest, the items in the chest, those are all going to be randomized, as well as the medallions that you're going to need to get into a couple of dungeons, specifically Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. So there is a potential here that some of the items here can be, good. And that bomb drop you saw Andy get there and Eunos both get is going to be huge, because there is a location here coming up at the end of Escape that normally you have to backtrack for because there's 3 chests in it. But because of that bomb drop early, both of the runners here can get that now and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, not having to farm any of these guards along the way, they're going to be able to get their 6-minute escape in.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things you'll see is you'll see a lot of runners here during the escape farming guards on the way out to get that bomb drop, so they don't have to do backtracking later. Because when it comes to randomizers specifically, backtracking is one of the worst things that can happen. We're going to get a couple of small keys here. So I guess I'm going to ask you, in your opinion, DM, if you were to choose one item that you could get in the set of chests here at the escape to make the rest of your run easier, what would that item be?
In the 3 chests, or at the one next to Zelda? Or anywhere in the escape?
Anywhere from Link's house to the N3 to the last chest you pick up in Sanctuary, what's the one item you want to get as early as possible?
I would either go with the mirror, or a big favorite is the fire rod, because he makes the escape so much easier, just blasting through everybody.
Cool. And we did have a question in chat. What are the names of all 4 of the swords?
Okay, so we have the fighter sword, which is the one they have now. A lot of people like to call it the butter knife or the plastic knife. Then we have the master sword. It's the blue one. It's a level 2. The next one's going to be the tempered. It's a red one. Looks like a lightsaber. And the last one is the gold sword, level 4 sword, also called the butter sword, because it looks like a stick of butter.
And we have the ball and chain trooper going down, and he's going to give out the big key, which that's going to be a big thing coming up here. And we also have the boomerang being taken care of or being picked up. Anyone who knows me knows I am a fan of boomerangs being used, but that's definitely not the item they wanted to see. Now, as we are still continuing on through the escape here, one of the things that you're going to see potentially is routing. And routing is going to be a huge thing throughout this entire ordeal, as you probably have seen throughout some of the other races we've had here in the tournament. And routing can take a couple of forms. The biggest one, of course, is going to be the order that you go through the dungeons. Now, what you find in the overworld is going to absolutely dictate what the routing path you can take is, simply because, if you don't have, Fire Rod, for example, you can't complete Skull Woods if you need to do that. And just things of that nature, you need certain items to be able to access certain dungeons. So the one thing you're more than likely going to see here is that most runners are going to do a lot of the overworld trekking first, and then from there, they'll go to dungeons based on what items they find in the overworld.
Yeah, my best suggestion for that is to not enter a Crystal Palace unless you have the ability to beat it. And so if you do have the ability and you're nearby, you might as well jump in and finish it because you're going to have to at some point. There are a few exceptions to that, like Ice Palace and Swamp for these two especially, because you can just boss rush those and they take half the time to just run straight through to the boss. All the other ones you're going to be digging through chests anyways to look for the big key, so you might as well also be looking for items in your process.
Yeah, but again, as the DM said, the big thing to take note of is going to be which dungeons are crystals and which dungeons are pendants. And if we have, depending on what dungeons we have for pendant dungeons, are those required? Is the Master Sword item something we need? Is the item that Sahasrara has something we need? Do the pendants matter?
And the question on everybody's mind is, what's inside the Master Sword pedestal?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I want to see a seed at some point where the Master Sword is required, just because it's one of those things where you don't see it too often, and it would be fun to see. But we also have those 3 treasure chests on the escape there that I was talking about, and 20 rupees and 2 heart pieces. Nothing that either runner is going to be too excited to find. Now, the rupees are a good thing in theory because there are 3 things that we need to purchase here eventually in this run. We're going to need 500 rupees for the Zora item. We're going to need 100 rupees for the bottle in Kakariko, and then 110 rupees for Kiki the monkey to open up Palace of Darkness, potentially.
And the biggest one there being the 500 rupees, because you want to go to Zora as soon as you can. Both these players know how to fake flippers. They'd be able to go immediately if they wanted, but that 500 rupees is going to play a big part of that.
And the routing has already started off. Both of our runners seem to be taking the same path here. Andy and Eunos both heading up towards the towards the Lost Woods section. Going to check out the pole tree here. Going to go into the cave and again start their item search on the overworld. Now you're probably not going to see a whole lot of dungeon diving. Oh, speaking of fire rods, there's the fire rod right there.
Oh, that's never good to see. That means Agawan's going to be required. So this item inside the
where's that ice rod
that they just looked at?
Ice rod. My bad. I saw it quickly. I thought it was the fire rod. It's one of the.
Okay, then we have a chance. If Turtle Rock's not required, they're not going to have to do that. But so that item in that cave right there is the item that's underneath the lumberjack tree there, and that tree will not be activated until you beat Agawan. But you also need to have the boots to be able to get into that cave. So it's not a great thing when you see something required on that edge right there. Just a lonely heart.
All right, so now coming out of the Lost Woods here, we're going to be making our way into Kakariko Village, and the area around Kakariko Village has a ton of items to get, especially early. As of right now, the only one that won't be able to get, is the item that you get from catching the thief kid, running kid, whatever you want to call him, because we don't have the boots. But everything else we can get, except for sick kid as well, because we don't have a bottle yet.
Yeah, they're also going to be looking for about 40 rupees. Well, never mind. Andy just found them.
Yeah, but say you were saying, oh, hammer. Early hammer. That's going to be nice.
Yeah, this has been a nice cave.
Yeah, so early hammer is nice because hammer is one of the items, and we just had found a look at the map there. Andy taking a look at the map for us, and the only palace that's required here in the light world is going to be Desert Palace, and the red and blue pendants are sitting here in the light world. So if the green pendant is required, it is going to be a dark world dungeon that's going to get it to us. So only one of the 7 dark world dungeons is going to be not required for a crystal, and that's going to be fun to see what that one is. And we have some level 1 gloves being found in this cave as well. So both of them have the capability of going to, some spots in Dark World early now.
And Andy gets ripped off.
Pay 100 rupees to get 20. Now, just to point out there, for those of you who might not have seen this before, those yellow golden bombs that you see, those are bomb upgrades. So that's just going to increase the capacity that our runners have for bombs. That is all those are going to do. And speaking of bombs, we have Eunos and Andy going to be going to the backside of the cafe/bar here and picking up a nice big stack of bombs.
Now Andy's going to make his way down to the library. He's just going to take a peek because he can't get it yet, but it's always good to know what's in here, see if you have to backtrack.
And I'm going to guess that'd be a no backtracking because that's just a shield.
Yeah, that's right. I wouldn't go back for it.
I mean, I'm not confident in my ability to play this game when I wouldn't go back for it. And you'll notice both of them checking the race prize here, which is a paltry blue rupee, so none of them are going to do the race either.
Now here's a place to fork. We'll see where they go. Okay, Eunos is going to head up to Death Mountain, it looks like, while Andy's going to head down to the dam and then probably towards the Moldorm Cave.
Yeah, and the dam here is one of my favorite mechanics in the game because not only does it drain everything out, you get a chest and it drains things out so you can get the item underneath the water here. Also, by draining it, it also affects the Swamp Palace in the Dark World. So that's one of my favorite things about this game is things you do in one side of the world affect things on the other. And, you know, for a Super Nintendo game, that's not something you saw a lot of back in the day, so the concept behind that is amazing. Fortunately, we have a flopping fish and only 20 rupees, so, you know, draining the water, not necessarily good. All we found was that people were just using this as a wishing well.
Yeah, he's not going to waste to pick up animation for that 20 rupees. Although he still does need another 170 rupees to get to Zora.
Eunos, on the other hand, is digging what the old man gave him. And by that, I mean the old man had the shovel.
So hopefully we don't have too much of a fetch quest there. He's fetch quest there. He's gonna have to go dig next to Link's house to find the item, and if it's another fetch quest item, then yeah, that's going to be quite the trek.
Fetch quests are fine, you know, as long as they lead to something good. How about boots there in the cave, and half magic for Andy? Wow, that's a heck of a cave down there.
Especially for Andy, those boots are going to be vital because now he has the ability to hover over any hole he wants.
Yeah, Eunos taking his shovel, and he's going to go and dig around here, as was said. Now, normally in this spot in the original game, you'd find the flute or the ocarina, whatever you want to talk about. And oh, Titan's Mint! So shovel required here.
That was a nice fetch quest.
That was a beautiful fetch quest. I mean, I can't complain about having to pick up the Titan's Mints there.
So now we'll see what Andy does. He has the potential to do his fake flippers here, and it looks like he's going for the setup. And he's in.
Yeah, fake flippers, now correct me if I'm wrong, all fake flippers, to activate them is you have to jump off the ledge at the same time you trigger the screen transition?
Yeah, it's the same idea as the hovering. The game only checks to see if you're going to fall into a hole every second frame. So if you can land in the water and move over in one frame, then the game doesn't have a chance to check if you're over a hole that you can't be over. Andy will do the same thing with hovering. It only checks every other frame. So if he can hit the dash button every second frame, he'll stay hovering over a hole.
And I'm not sure how this happened, but the hobo had the Master Sword. So apparently our earlier hero just got drunk and decided, I'm not dealing with this, you take care of it. Apparently that's good. That's the guy from Skyrim who decided he used to be a hero like us, but then took a silver arrow to the knee, and I am not sorry for making that joke at all. Eunos here in the cave where he's going to be able to pick up the boots and the half magic as well as Andy is over here in Sahasrala's house. He's going to get more money, and more money. So all that means is more money and more problems there for Andy.
Yeah, I think Andy's about to make his trek up to Death Mountain as Eunos just found the boots and the half magic as well. So both these players off to a fast start. Oh, because Andy has the boots, he can get this bonk rock too. I forgot. So that's a good streamline routing on his part. Be able to swing by here on the way up to Death Mountain.
Yep, and picking up the bottle is nice too because it also opens up the sick kid there in Kakariko.
Now, ideally, he'd also have the flute right now so that he can knock that out while he's in town, but I'll take the mirror any day over that.
Yeah, I will absolutely take the mirror. I mean, this has been one of those good sort of good sort of seeds where your fetch quest items have been, good fetch quest items.
So here's Eunos. He's setting up the fake flippers. He has a little different setup. He likes to use the cliff face down at the bottom to actually identify the pixels. But he's going to swing over here by the island and find out that he doesn't want this 20 rupees. And go get the Master Sword himself.
Yeah, Master Sword is definitely worth the fake flippers. Now, keep in mind, I do want to point out to those of you who might be thinking this like, wait, I don't know how to do this fake flippers trick, and how am I supposed to, take care of that? Tricks like fake flippers and hovering and all these sort of bomb jumps and things like that we're going to explain later, none of those are ever going to be required to defeat a seed. So if, say, this Master Sword was the only way to defeat Aghanim 1 to get to the Dark World, and there would be a way to get to the flippers in the light world or in the dark world that you had easy access to. So none of these tricks will ever be required to beat a seed.
So on that note, sometimes it's a hindrance to be able to do things like this because those flippers may have led somewhere else as well, or the thing to get the flippers would lead you somewhere else. And so these guys are maybe at a disadvantage that they're going to miss this part for quite a while, especially if the flippers are required for Swamp.
And it looks like Eunos is heading into Aghanim's tower here.
Yeah, I questioned this one actually because I don't know if he stepped on the portal up in Death Mountain or any other portal for that matter to see what's going to be required.
Keep in mind that Eunos does not have the mirror like Andy does. So Andy can hit that they're not a problem, and he, with the mirror, can go to Tower of Hera, which, as we know, is a pendant dungeon, but Tower of Hera does have a couple of quick things that are easy to check. So, while you're up here, you might as well.
So the only thing he can't do in here is going to be the basement, because he doesn't have a fire source, but he has 75-80% chance that he won't need it anyways.
And it's always interesting to me about these dungeons. Like Tower of Hera, all things considered, is a pretty quick dungeon, especially now that Andy has the big key and he has the ability to hover. So, doing these early pendant dungeons is fascinating to me, especially when it's one that's going to be a fairly quick dungeon, because it's it's a risk reward paradigm. And if it turns out that your risk was worth it, then it puts you in a huge advantage. But if it turns out there's nothing there you needed, is the time you wasted worth it because of the gamble? And yes, it was, because the Moon Pearl is here, so it was needed to go into Tower of Hera.
Moon Pearl and Hera.
Hey, it wasn't in its normal location though.
That is true. So I think he has one other item left that's not going to be a dungeon item. He's got the key. I think he got the map was down in the basement of the first room, if I'm not mistaken.
Compass was.
Okay, so Moldorm, this is a 50-50 right here.
Yep, map or item. Andy opting to break out the hammer strats here for Moldorm, which is something you don't get to see too often, simply because you normally don't have the hammer, but it's always fun when you get to break out new weapons to kill things. And look at that, the flippers. Tower of Hera turning out to be, a little more required than people might want it to be.
Well, we don't know quite yet if the flippers are going to be required, but they are nice to have. They're only going to be required if you have to do Swamp Palace, because nobody has yet to figure it out fake flippers in Swamp Palace.
But hey, there we go. In case there's a 6 in 7 chance that Swamp Palace is going to have a crystal. So.
Oh yeah, it's a huge chance it's going to be in there.
Yeah, so Eunos also taking the gamble that Aghanim's going to be required. Again, that 6 in 7 chance for Turtle Rock being required. More than likely, Ice Rod is going to be a thing. So one of these two is making, it's a good chance both of them are making the correct call, but it's a guarantee that at least one of them is making the correct call, because both Swamp Palace and Turtle Rock, one of them has to be guaranteed to be required.
So he's not going to have the Moon Pearl here. He's not going to be able to do much as a bunny.
You can still check out the item here on the side of the pyramid, which is just some arrows.
Yeah. Not worth the pickup animation there.
No, not at all. And hey, we got some magic powder over on Andy's side. Not necessarily the best item to find, but hey, it allows you to get some heals in all those rooms with Anti-Fairy. So you're happy to have it, but you're not excited to find it. Andy now almost having enough rupees to go ahead and take care of the Zora, but wow, he's going to get the cape in the Book of Medora. So this exploration of Death Mountain has been huge for Andy right now.
Yeah, and he got that money that he needed, and then there goes his first hover. You can bomb jump that gap as well, but, Andy just says, screw it, I'll just hover it.
Yeah, why hurt yourself when you can swag it up?
But he now has enough money to do Zora. In fact, he has enough money to do, I believe, everything left in the game.
Is everything that's required to be paid for, he definitely has enough to do it now. And with the Book of Medora, he's going to go straight over here to the Ether Tablet and see what he gets. And I've seen people forget Ether Tablets and have it be, a required thing, so I'm happy to see this being picked up here, whatever.
This is some very smart routing by him. And, of course, he gets the cane. I was about to say, the next place I would logically go is this Cane at Burna Cave down here, which it appears he's also heading towards.
Yeah, and Cane of Burna, not necessarily something Andy is going to, need, but definitely something you like because, hey, invulnerability, why not?
Eunos is taking a pretty big gamble here. He's heading into Eastern without the bow. Now, there's a chance that the bow's in Eastern, but there's so many other spots in the world for it to be that this is very much a gamble.
It is, and just like, Andy going into Hera was a gamble. I mean, it's always fun to see these. Like I said, sometimes your gambles can pay off. Sometimes they won't pay off. And
here's our first peek.
Eunos' gamble for Aghanim was not needed. Turtle Rock is the green pendant.
That's a shame.
That is a shame. I mean, I can understand the gamble there, but Ice Rod not. Well, let me rephrase that. Ice Rod has the potential to still be required, but very, very unlikely at this point.
Yeah, Eunos' only saving grace will be either if Trinex is holding something or Sasarashua is.
Or the Master Sword.
True. which we may see it. One of the runners peek their head in there and check it out. If you use the book on the pedestal, it will tell you what's in there.
Yeah, we're taking a look around the items we've seen. The only item that could be in the Master Sword section that could be required is Hookshot, or maybe a medallion to get into Mire. So there's not a whole lot of hoping for good items, but hey, it's there. Eunos now picking up the bottle from Bonk Cave.
Yeah, he got a bottle from the Eastern Palace. So I believe he's heading towards the sick kid. He's gonna fetch his ice rod real quickly though.
Hey, he took the time to kill Aghanim, so might as well.
Meanwhile, Andy has so much of the world open to him right now. I very much doubt he's going to miss the Titan's Mitt in the next couple of screen transitions here.
Yeah, I think he just got it actually.
Oh, did he?
Because he picked up the heart container from the flute kid, who normally gives you the shovel. So you would just mirror right there and go ahead and pick up the Titan's Mitts as well.
I'll try to peek at his menu next time it's open. I might not even need to. If he goes towards the frog, he has the mitts.
Now we're going to go ahead and do the digging game. Look at that! All kinds of fun with the shovel to see. Titan's Mitt and Ocarina both being acquired by use of a digging implement. Wow.
Now, Eunos went and visited the sick kid in bed. He got his mirror. So we'll see where he goes with this.
Game being super generous right now.
Looks like Eunos is taking the option to go straight up to Tower of Hera, which is not a bad play here.
Especially not because we know Moon Pearl's in there.
Yeah, he knows he has the mirror. He knows it's a crystal up here, so let's go knock them both out.
Hera's the red pendant.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
well,
Crystal Desert Palace.
Oh, he's going to use a hammer. He's going to go over to Death Mountain. That's what he wants up here.
Mm-hmm.
You get 7 chests in this wall of caves area.
Yeah, Dwarven Breadsmiths only giving us a piece of heart, or a pizza heart for the Dwarven Breadsmiths. I mean, come on, you gotta make the food joke somehow, right?
Andy opting not to touch that purple chest.
Well, he's got the powder, so you might as well check out Batman's cave first.
That's true, and he may be going into town to activate the flute. I don't know if he did that before.
I don't believe he did.
So he'll probably activate the flute and then flute with the chest. Will be the best routing of this.
And hey, Batman has the Quake medallion.
I don't believe anybody's taken a peek at anything yet, so that may or may not be required.
There's a 33% chance that's required.
And nope, he decides, nope, I don't want that purple chest.
Eunos going to go ahead and pick up his magic powder. And hey, there's a shield for Andy. Not that he was struggling with it, or without it, but hey, there's a shield now. And Eunos going to go ahead and pick up the cape in the Book of Medora as well, so he is well on his way to getting things. Andy's going to go ahead, while he's here, hey, let's open up Thieves' Town. Why not?
Yeah, I don't believe Andy's not going to go into Thieves' Town. I mean, it's a crystal, he's here, he has every required item to do everything in it. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And Andy there in Dark Kakariko getting nothing but net, picking up the bug-catching net. And let's see what the game here has. Oh, just a heart piece, unfortunately. Now I'm going to go ahead and whistle by the entrance to Thieves Town and play a little tune for the bird here. So everybody in chat, there's an FFC emote called Swag Duck. I want to see as many swag ducks in the chat as possible because we're about to see it.
Here comes Eunos into Agona's cave. And he's probably going to head over, check out the desert cliff item, and then maybe peek his head into desert. Although he cannot complete it yet without any fire.
Yep, but still the one hiccup here is there is no lantern, no fire rod.
And he's going to make his way back over to the east side of Death Mountain now that he has the Titan's Mitt and the Moon Pearl.
There's fire rod.
Oh, that's nice. Fine.
It's
so
the
now
desert
he can't do it as desert.
It's the desert cliff item.
So Andy's going to come over here. There's 6 items over here. They typically require the hook shot, but like I said, Andy doesn't care.
Yeah, long hair, definitely not caring. And yes, for those of you who have never seen hovering, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This is something you're going to want to see. And also, for those of you who've never seen it, you see the blocks are disappearing. Just a little glitch in the game where if you push the block at the same time you hit the button to trigger the mirror, the block just goes bye-bye. And hey, speaking of things, silver arrows have been acquired on Eunos' side. You can tell that because that's the arrow that says AG. AG, of course, standing for silver.
Silver to slay the beast lies in desert.
Yep. And boots required here because you need to bonk to get the big key out of desert.
I did not see what the medallion was. I looked over on Eunos' screen. Did anybody catch the T-Rock medallion? I know it's not going to be a required one, but...
I did not either. But hey, there is the bow, or the D, whatever you want to call it, here in Hookshot Cave. So it's also required, and that actually gives... Having the Hookshot Cave have the bow is giving Andy a huge advantage right now because he can go here and do the hovering. So this is a huge advantage for Andy right now.
Well, that one chest, Eunos will be able to get it. It's just a couple bonks. You can bonk off the first skull pot and then bonk downward from the second one.
True, but here's the question is Andy going to take the gamble and go, Eunos going to take the gamble and go here without hookshot?
That is a huge question. Now, logically, the game will put hookshot there sometimes.
Right, because you can reach it through via bonking.
Yes.
Hovering not cooperating with Andy right now.
But this would be the last place I would look for hookshot. Even after swap, which would be the second least likely place to find it. Yeah, Andy's not going to give up on this.
Oh, he's up here.
He's got a fairy in a bottle. He's just going to be here all day.
Yeah, he's up here, so he might as well. And there's the hover. And Eunos now with the fire rod is going to be able to complete desert. And Andy going for the swag diagonal hover.
Checking his bottles here, see what he has. I guess he's only got a green potion in a bottle, so if he fails this one, that's it. Eunos making quick work of this land mola.
Hey, burning him is always a good thing because when all else fails, use fire rod. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, Andy does go ahead and die, and he's going to be teleported back to Link's house where he chooses to start. And Eunos with the first crystal of the game. I'm not sure which crystal that actually was, but we'll figure it out in a minute.
Yeah. Next time he puts just start, we'll take a glance.
Oh, and
Andy
remember
has
that,
sorry.
remember that Quake medallion that Batman gave to Andy? It's required for Meyer.
So Andy's going to make quicker work of getting into desert than Eunos was able to. He was able to flute over here to begin with, and then mirror into desert.
And hey, look, there's the hook shot in the outside Meyer cave. Kind of funny that after Andy dies trying to get the hover, he gets the hook shot.
The irony.
The absolute level of troll there is wonderful.
So that one chest, he's got to hope that there's nothing in it, because that's a long chest to come back for, and especially without having to go to Turtle Rock. At this point, you just gamble. You say it's not going to be there. They both are going up to Zora, taking different routes.
Well, Andy has the benefit of having the flute, so he can go ahead and take the route he's taking. Eunos, without having the flute, without having done the digging game in Dark World yet, has to take this a little bit of a longer path here.
Yeah, Eunos has still never made his way into Hera. He does not have that Moon Pearl.
Nope. But we did see the fenced-in item, the mushroom, so that could be required for something as well. So both of them, when they're done with Zora, are absolutely going to go ahead and pick up that mushroom.
And again, Andy with the advantage on that. He's just going to save and quit.
Yeah.
Oh, not to mention he has the flippers. But he's just going to save and quit and flute to 2. It's a lot faster than actually swimming out of here.
Yeah, Eunos having to take the long path because he doesn't have flippers.
And he won't be able to get this mushroom either. He's going to have to come back here.
Yep. Unfortunately, Zora has 5 arrows. What a ripoff.
So at the moment, I would say going into Hera early is Andy's huge advantage.
Oh, 100%. Getting that Moon Pearl has given him an absolutely decided advantage right now. And with Eunos being very reluctant to go into Hera right now, that's going to, every moment he doesn't go into Hera, it's going to increase Andy's advantage. And hey, look, the mushroom leads to the mirror shield.
I can't blame Eunos. It is a pendant, and he's already beaten Aghanim. So he has Dark World access, but not really.
Right, and Eunos now falling into the Bat Cave, and he's going to also pick up the Quake Medallion, which luckily for him is required.
So we spoke earlier about Andy having that shortcut to desert, but it doesn't look like he decided to take it. He got so excited about the hook shot that he just left Meyer area. I don't believe he stopped and got the hook shot.
I know he did. He definitely had the hook shot because it was in one of the treasure
Or, I'm
chests.
sorry, the fire rod.
No, I don't even think he teleported over to take a look at the fire rod.
He does take a peek at that cape item inside. Nope.
Nope, nope, nope. Don't want it. Don't need it. Alright, yes, for those of you who are just tuning in, the 3 pendant dungeons we have in this seed, Turtle Rock is the green pendant, Eastern Palace is the blue pendant, and Tower of Hera is the red pendant. All the other dungeons are crystals. And,
More doping on Andy's part.
Eunos finally going into Tower of Hera. He has made his way down. He has picked up the Cane of Birna from the Ether Tablet, and now he is going into the Tower of Hera. So he will finally be getting his Moon Pearl. He'll also be getting the flippers here because we know that Moldorm has the flippers. So
Yeah.
Tower of Hera is definitely a good place for Eunos to be right now. It's going to definitely cut down the advantage that Andy has. But with Andy's level of skill, my question is the advantage he already has gained from doing early Hera too much for Eunos to overcome?
It really depends on how long it takes him to get to desert to get the fire rod. But desert being a crystal, I don't think that's going to take very long.
And of course, Fire Rod being required for Skull Woods.
It's really going to come down to where's the Cane of Samaria, and we already know it can't be in Turtle Rock, so there goes Eunos' advantage on that one.
Yep. Cane can't be in Turtle Rock, which by default means Cane cannot be the Master Sword item, nor can it be the Sahasrara item, because Turtle Rock is the green pendant. And hey, look, there's Cane of Samaria, speak of the devil!
Thanks, Mr. Catfish.
So what else are we going to talk about that our runners are going to find? We talked about the Fire Rod, Eunos found it. We talked about the hook shot, Andy found it. We started talking about the Cane of Samaria, Andy found it. What's next?
So let's go ahead and bring up the lantern. So neither of these runners are going to need the lantern. They both can do dark exploration just fine. But it is a nice find.
Yep. And the worst part for Eunos here is he opted out of the Tower of Hera with the flippers being in there, and flippers are required because Swamp Palace is a crystal.
Now, did he hang out enough in there to get the Moon Pearl at least?
Well, he's in
yes,
Skull Woods, so I would imagine so.
Good call. So we got Skull Woods for Eunos, and we got Thieves Town for Andy. Thieves Town is a lot more fruitful of a dungeon. It's going to have, I believe, 4 unique items. Maybe just 3. And Skull Woods only has 2.
But you can definitely understand why Eunos would be going after Skull Woods here. He has the Fire Rod. Although in his mind, in Eunos' mind, he definitely has to be thinking, Andy has the Fire Rod at this point, considering its location. But I can definitely understand doing Skull Woods here, especially because, it's a fairly quick dungeon, all things considered. Not necessarily the best when it comes to item hunting, but it's a fairly quick dungeon.
Yeah, especially since at least one of the chests you can completely skip, because it's always going to be a key here in the casual setting. Eunos, with all that hand experience from Zelda 1, decides that he does not want any trouble with them.
Now, it's funny you mention them, though, because the Ceiling Masters don't exist in Zelda 1. You only get the Wall Master versions.
Hand too strong.
Too strong indeed. See, Skull Woods was one of those dungeon designs when I first played this game that I found very fascinating because, most times you enter a dungeon in a game and, it's all in the same area, you have one exit, whereas Skull Woods, it's, a segmented dungeon through the overworld and the underworld, and it's a truly fascinating sort of thing that the game did this. So this is, like I mentioned earlier with, draining the dam and the Swamp Palace being affected by it, the same sort of concept here with Skull Woods as it's, a segmented overworld, underworld dungeon. I absolutely love it. And hey, there's the lantern! Speak of the devil! Will you stop? We need to stop that.
Alright, so what's left to need?
Nothing? I think.
Red mail would be really nice about right now.
Yeah, but that's not needed. They don't need the lamp anywhere, but the lamp is going to make it so they don't have to deal with some of the dark rooms. Palace of Darkness comes to mind because, hey, Palace of Darkness, why not be dark? And I don't know which crystal is which on the HUD, but the second crystal on the bottom row was lit up on Eunos' side, so whatever crystal that is what the Desert Palace was. Yeah,
that's crystal 3. They go left to right, up, down, up, down.
Ah, gotcha.
Oops, sorry. Crystal 3. So Andy broke the game just now, in case anybody was wondering. He did a trick where he used the mirror at the exact same moment that Blind's door would close. And so it glitches out the game. It doesn't actually know what to do.
So we're basically getting what would happen if you saw the blind fight through the negatives on a film camera.
Yeah, you know, if somebody was just dropping acid or whatever and decided to play Link to the Past, this is probably what they'd do.
But hey, it's a nice, cool effect, and we have a pseudo high five with both runners picking up crystals at basically the exact same time.
Yeah, we'll peek which crystals they got. Neither of these dungeons look to have actually paid off.
Well, the lantern for Eunos and Skull Woods. Crystal 5 there for Andy.
Crystal 5 is nice. He's halfway to that big bomb.
Yes, but the big bomb isn't going to contain anything of use.
Oh, yeah. They got everything.
Exactly. So, I mean, at this point,
Andy's
Andy
in
doesn't...
full-on dungeon rush except for Fire Rod, huh?
Except for Fire Rod and technically Silvers, but I don't think Andy needs Silvers. That's just, just me.
Andy doesn't even need a sword upgrade at this point. He's happy with Master Sword.
I didn't realize you could do... I didn't realize Master Sword would allow you to do Silverless.
Yes, it's a lot more spins. It's 24 spins in the final phase, but... I mean, it saves you hunting down those silver arrows. And I believe they're in the back of Desert, which I don't think Andy's going to head that way after he finds the Fire Rod.
Yeah, but at this point, from what we know, Andy can just go through dungeons at his leisure at this point, and because once he makes his way over to Mire and Desert, he's going to find the Fire Rod. So he is effectively in, Crystal and Go mode, or Triforce and Go mode, or, however you want to refer to it. Still has a lot more exploring to do. He still has the Cane of Samaria to find, the Flute to find. Technically, he needs the Flippers, which means he needs to go back to Tower of Hera and the Hook Shot.
I think the Tower of Hera one is going to be the hardest one for him to get. Because you never want to backtrack, especially not to a pendant.
Oh, absolutely not. And the biggest thing for me, though, is yes, you found the Moon Pearl, but there's a second item hiding somewhere in that dungeon. Why would you, you're already halfway through the dungeon. Why would you not complete it, especially one that's short like Tower of Hera? I mean, if you went into, say, Misery Mire, for example, and the item you needed was in the first chest and it was a pendant dungeon, I can absolutely understand not going back for that. But Tower of Hera is so short, all things considered, I would have finished it. Of course, this is also coming from the guy who just talks about the game but doesn't actually play it.
Yeah, it's a questionable. Moldorm fight can be trolly. It can be very annoying. If Eunos just didn't want to deal with Moldorm, I don't blame him. And I don't believe he had a fire source at that time, did he yet?
He did not have a fire source at that point.
So there's no reason for him to stay in Tower of Hera, especially if he believes that the basement's going to possibly have an item. He was at a 50-50 at that point, and I mean... he was probably rolling with the bad luck, saying, it's going to be in the basement, I'll come back with fire.
Oh, and apparently after he got the big chest item, he fell back down. That also could have influenced your decision.
Oh, definitely, yeah, that's one of those. Well, I'm out of here.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. And for those of you asking in chat, Bombust Medallion has not been found, and Hookshot Cave does contain something. Hookshot Cave contains the bow.
So this is the one disadvantage to Andy not having gone by Desert yet. He's got to do all of Swamp Palace, and going over here to the west side of Swamp Palace is not an easy thing to do. Well, it's easy, it's just... it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, easy and time-consuming are two entirely different things here. And now, Swamp Palace, that is one of the 2 dungeons that the big key is not required to reach the boss. Which is always funny when you see Argus dropping the big key. And once we hit Argus, though, I'm going to get into my little diatribe here on what the developers were thinking in Link to the Past, because if you've most Zelda games it's going to be a thing, but especially in Link to the Past, I want everybody to start taking a look at the bosses in Link to the Past. I mean, we've seen it with Moldorm. We're going to see it here with Argus. We're going to see it with Cold Stare. We're going to see it with Vitreous. And hey, speaking of the Bombos Medallion, there it is for those who are asking. But the developers of Link to the Past had a serious eyeball obsession. And I'm not sure why. Vitreous is just literally a bunch of eyeballs. Cold Stare, it's a bunch of cloud eyeballs. Kind of looks like, I forget the name of the enemy from Kirby. Argus, for example, is one giant eyeball and a bunch of smaller floating eyeballs. So the designers here had a very, very, crazy, weird obsession with eyeballs. And I'm not sure it's healthy. Krakow, thank you, Alistair. And Phoenix. And Baba Bad.
Eunos making his way into the blind fight.
To answer your question, why Andy didn't open the big chest, he more than likely doesn't have the big key.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to backtrack when he does find it. There's no reason for him.
No, absolutely not. And also having an enemy named Blind with all of these eyeball enemies, I have to appreciate the pun and the irony in the enemy named Blind, surrounded by all the eyeball monsters. The dad joke, speaking of the dad joke, was I haven't seen an optometrist in years. For those of you wondering what Blind's dad joke was.
Eunos making his way through Dark Kariko, and I have a question for you, TG. What is the best boss in Link to the Past for a pirate?
Argus, of course.
So he's going to take 2 swings with the Master Sword here, but like I said, Andy doesn't care. He'll clear all this out. Master Sword is good enough.
Yeah, sometimes it's all you need.
He is going to take 4 spins here, but I mean, the little extra time for each of the boss kills is nothing compared to hunting down those extra swords.
Yeah, and Eunos now is going to go ahead and do the digging game, and he's going to finally get his flute here, which is good for him. But 52 minutes in,
this is a good payoff. It will speed up travel everywhere.
It will. Yeah, Andy's still looking for the fire rod, so going back in to check what he needs here. He's going to be a little disappointed it's not going to be the fire rod, but
we are interested in what it is, though.
Oh, of course. Half the fun of playing a randomizer is like, oh, what present do I get this time? And it's every chest you open is like Christmas morning. And a good 50% of the chests like, damn it, I got socks.
And there's the socks.
But hey, I'm not going to lie. If I open a present on Christmas morning and I get $50, I'm happy.
Yeah, Andy has no use for any money anymore. Some of the other runners, this is nice to pick up all this money later on, because you can always go flute over to the witch's hut and pick up some potions. Nice safeties to carry around, but for Andy, he's used to playing this game with like 3 hearts. He's got to remind himself where he's going. So it looks like Skull Woods was number 6. If I read that right just now.
Oh, was it 6? I thought it was 5.
I could be reading it wrong. I've been failing on keeping these crystals up to date, though.
You have one job. One job. Instead, you're feeding me great lines for bad puns.
So Andy's gonna make his way to Palace of Darkness. Like I said, he's got to find the big key here anyway, so you might as well dig through here.
And here's going to be the kicker. We're going to be seeing Dark Palace of Darkness because Andy has no lantern.
Yeah, this is going to be a couple of tricky rooms coming up. The Dark Maze is one of the hardest to navigate through. I believe Andy's got it down, but I do suggest people pull up a map so they know exactly what's going on when they do it themselves.
If Eunos going to go ahead and whistle and take the blue chest. Now, we know that the chest can't have anything, he needs. And hey, look, there's a heart piece. It gives him a refill. Does that count? Eunos taking a look and seeing the Quake Medallion, and now he's going to be very, very happy that he's getting his hook shot.
Yeah, this hook shot's going to lead him straight up to get the bow, I'm sure.
Which, keep in mind, now, assuming Eunos is able to quickly get the flippers out of Hera when he discovers that's where they are, that bow could potentially help him out because Andy only has a Master Sword and and regular everything, and Eunos has the silver arrows. So, assuming they reach Ganon at an equivalent time frame, the silvers could be the deciding factor in here. That's the one advantage Eunos has over Andy is that silver arrows.
Yeah, a silver arrow fight is going to take about 1.5 to 2 minutes, whereas a Master Sword fight you're looking at least 3, maybe more, even optimally done. Because you have to get up 12 spins in each of his phases at the start, and then 24 to finish him off. So it takes quite a while. Andy would be very happy to find Lantern for that reason, because he's going to have to light those torches repeatedly. Fire Rod works with half magic, but Lantern's even nicer.
Yeah, I know it was coded in the game, but I don't remember if it's in this set of settings. Is quarter magic in this set of flags?
It is.
Okay. Every race I've seen, I haven't seen quarter magic, so it's like, I don't know if it's here.
Yeah, it exists, I believe, in the tournament seed still. The only thing that I believe they changed from what a normal casual runner would see is the uncle has a normally he has about 20% chance to spoil where the boots would be, but in the tournament seeds they've lowered that down to only about a 1% chance.
Andy there getting the bomb jump to get the big chest, and now welcome to the Dark Maze, everybody. The only way we're going to be able to see where we're going, as you can see, Andy is keeping his sword charged so we can follow the twinkle. And Eunos is going to go ahead and pick up the bow in Hookshot Cave, going to get a bomb upgrade. And it was just a heart piece in the chest that Andy didn't get. So failing the hovers didn't hurt him too much, just, gave him 1 on the death count.
So something to note about this dark room. Some of the sprites don't show up. And by some of the sprites, I mean the item sprites from the chest. So as you saw, when Andy got that bottom chest, he had to open his menu to see what he got. The first one looked like it was a map, and this one was a big key.
He already had the big key before that because he opened the big chest.
Oh, did he open the big chest on the way?
Yeah, he bomb jumped.
I don't know what he got the second time. I think the only thing that shows up in the dark that I can think of is the keys, the small keys. So everything else, you're just at a guess at what you just opened.
It was probably socks. And for those of you who were asking earlier where the Cane of Samaria was, it was in the location where you would get the Quake Medallion, normally the giant catfish.
Eunos making his way to, quote, hype cave, but we all know there's no hype in this cave.
Yeah, no, mirror shield was the mushroom item from the witch's hut. No, the only hype there was a heart container.
And it's not even the Senk heart. It's just a heart.
Yeah. Quick little fun skip here. Having Cane of Samaria, and he doesn't have to push the statue. He can just be like, nope, I'm just going to put a block here and keep on going. Eunos, yep, does have crystals 5 and 6 because he has the big bomb now. But Eunos, you can't do that. Oh, you can do that though.
Yeah, there's a glitch.
I didn't realize that was a thing.
There's a glitch if you transition, either with a mirror or screen transition, when the timer hits 0, and he just lost his big bomb. If you transition when the timer hits 0, the bomb will actually teleport back to Link.
I did not know that.
The second one, yeah, he wasn't thinking. So unfortunately for him, he heads south instead of north, and he's going to head to Dark Palace as well. Speaking of Dark Palace, Andy's screen did not disappear. He's just playing in the dark.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta sit around and do things with the lights off. Andy opting to use his Bombos medallion to help him out here because, well, why not blow everything up?
So he's walking around, you see that tinkle, he's looking for some turtles that are running around here in the dark. Now he's looking for the door.
Yeah, this is something I would, never be able to do, although he does manage to push and find the teleport pad into, hey, look, yet another dark room. It's funny we mentioned that because we've been making all these eye jokes and blind jokes here, and hey, we made it through, and welcome to the Helmosaur King, everybody.
For some reason, there's light in here, though. Go figure.
Well, I mean, it does make sense considering the Helmosaur King shoots out lots of fireballs, so from a logical perspective, it makes sense.
Andy just going ham with that hammer. Now, Eunos is going to have an advantage there, because it will only take one silver arrow shot to kill Helmosaur.
Yeah, but would you dare say that Andy nailed the Helmosaur King? Hammer? Nail? No? Okay, I'll stop.
He hammered it home.
Yes, yes. So Andy's got crystals 1, 4, and 5.
Good eye, good eye. And hopefully Andy will mirror here and get his fire rod.
Well, he will definitely have to at some point because Desert is a crystal, and here we go. He's got the mirror action now. Andy's getting his fire rod going down, and hey, look, I can burn things. All good now.
We are officially in go mode.
Yep, so that's going to open up the 4. Wow, I can't talk. Let's just forget I'm talking here and go back to watching Eunos just throw bombs at everything.
Yeah, it's the one nice thing about Randomizer. As you see, Andy has 30 bombs. Normally in the game you only have 10. And most speedrunners are used to only having 10. When you have 30 bombs, you just don't know what to do.
So you might as well just blow up everything.
Fun fact, these beetles, they can be stunned by a bomb explosion.
Yeah, this is interesting. Andy opting to still check chests here, even though technically he needs nothing.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly he'd be looking for, but what he's going to find is nice. Oh, no, he just
realized that, wait, what am I doing? I don't need anything. But what's funny is he was running the way of the silver arrows.
He was so close to speeding up his match. This is fine. This is fine. Meanwhile, Eunos is showing everybody what the Palace of Darkness actually looks like.
Looks like a palace of darkness. Yeah, this is the dark maze we were talking about here. With the lantern, you can actually see it. And hey, it was a bomb upgrade. Was one of the chests that was gotten.
That's nice.
And the map was the other one, as we found out. Yeah, yep, Andy is in Crystals and Go mode. Just banging away with the fire rod. I was always a fan, as a kid, of Ice Rod killing the land molas here.
Yeah, if you were adventurous as a kid, you came across that Ice Rod pretty early. All it took was a bomb to get in there.
Oh, yeah.
Andy, with his fire rod in hand, heads up to Skullwoods to take care of that crystal now. This one's going to be one of the fastest ones you'll see. Blink and you'll miss this dungeon. I dare say Skullwoods is faster than watching this wall move in Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, the fun part's gonna be is we still have Ice Palace to do. And Ice Palace, especially when you're in I don't need to find anything mode, is a sight to behold.
Yeah, I hope that Eunos comes across the flippers before he heads into ice, because that is not going to be a fun day. Although he does know that the flippers cannot be in ice, so maybe we just want him to find the cane before then. And what I mean by flippers can't be in ice is the game normally requires you to have flippers. But as we see, both these runners can fake flippers into it. But logically, they won't need to.
Just another one of the sanity checks that we were talking about. And yep, we do have some Helmasaur King action.
Andy exploiting another glitch. He's using that spike to deal the damage to the Gibdo instead of actually fighting him with the Master Sword. The spike will do gold sword damage, so he only needs 2 hits.
And there you can see Eunos using the 1 silver arrow to slay the Helmasaur King.
And speaking of spikes and glitches, here is one of the most hated bosses in A Link to the Past, Mr. Mothula.
And the reason he's a pain is that moving floor. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, well, one of the worst things about him, though, is if you knock him into one of those moving spikes, he doesn't take damage. These spikes are programmed to not cause any damage to him, which in turn also made the gold sword not cause any damage to him. So in the randomizer, it's been reprogrammed so the gold sword acts like a tempered when you're fighting Mothula. But the spikes still don't do any damage to him, so it's annoying. Eunos is making his way. It looks like he's going towards Skullwoods or Swamp Palace, but he does not have the flippers. Oh, he realizes it. Okay, he's going to Bombos.
Yeah, and here is Ice Palace, and Andy, having the Bombos Battalion up, says, I don't need to fire out. I'm just going to blow everything up. Speaking of blowing everything up, let's watch a vulture burn.
Birds are jerks. They deserve it.
No, not all birds are jerks. We have swag duck.
Swag duck is not a bird.
It flies. It's a bird.
He's a waterfowl. It doesn't count.
Oh, so now you're crying foul on me. I see how this is going to be.
So as we said, Andy does not need a big key for... Well, I don't believe we said it, but with the speedrun route, Andy does not need a big key here. He does not have to check any chests after he pulls off one simple trick.
And what would that trick be?
So coming up in the room down below, there's going to be a spinning fire rod. Andy has to set himself on a couple of pixels, and he's going to boost himself over the hole with a bomb. Or, in Andy's case, he's just going to hover.
Yep, but yeah, this bomb jump here is definitely a nice way to cut down on the length of the Ice Palace here. And again, there are two ways to do it. I do love watching the bomb setup. I actually got a quick little lesson in how to do the bomb jump setup. Basically, you walk in and just hold right, which will set you off on your horizontal plane. And so you got that at least. Then you just have to basically set your sword up, set the bomb up, and then basically set yourself up so that the tip of Link's cap is on the bottom pixel of a brick. And in theory, it should push you across the gap, but it's that's the theory behind it. It's a whole lot harder in practice than just listening to me say it.
So Eunos decides that he does want to see what this big bomb item is. He's still missing the Canis Marium flippers, so... This isn't a bad call by him. There are two chests right here. Instead, normally you would throw things into the Fat Fairy's fountain.
Hey, he gets the butter sword out of it at least.
It's always good to find. I don't believe Eunos actually knows how to do the Master Sword. Or if he does know, he's not practiced in it at least. So this is a good find for him.
Absolutely, and here is the use of the Bombos Medallion to just completely one-shot Cold Stare's icy covering.
So Andy's mentioned before, he loves doing this in Randomizer, especially with half or quarter magic, because then he has a fire rod. The fire rod will actually do gold sword damage to those cold stare puffs. So they only take 4 shots instead of normally you'd have to do 8 with the tempered, or with the Master Sword he would have been looking at 12, I believe.
Yeah, it makes sense. But cold stare puffs, is that anything like Cocoa Puffs?
Exactly like those. It's just more eyeballs.
Yep. Cold stare puffs. Perfect for breakfast and your vision.
Speaking of eyeballs,
Eunos also opted to fake flippers his way to Ice Palace, which, considering his current situation, not a bad idea. Gets the thing out of the way, and Eunos can absolutely bomb jump as well.
So in Eunos' brain, his logic here is that the cane is here, not the flippers, like we said. So he's going to go through every single one of these chests, which is unfortunate for him, because Ice Palace can be quite long when you're digging through chests if you're not getting good key drops. He's already missed out on one chest. Ideally, he'd already have a key.
Yep, for those of you who are asking in the chat, flippers are required for the Swamp Palace here. Then, unfortunately for Eunos, he was in the location where the flippers are, but an unfortunate series of circumstances led him to fall down a hole in the Tower of Hera, which is the Red Pendant dungeon, so it's not required. Unfortunately for Eunos, Moldorm has the flippers.
I like the decision there. Eunos was standing next to the switch, wondering if he wanted to bomb jump or not. He came to the conclusion he doesn't have the red cane, so it'd be easier just to bomb jump and be able to get to Cold Stare.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're able to bypass the looping of Ice Palace as the game intended if you have the red cane with you. But doing the bomb jump also bypasses that requirement. He still doesn't have that key. He wanted to go right there, because ideally you'd go right and there's 2 chests, and then you get the 3rd chest. But he's just going to have to do the normal route through here. Andy, meanwhile, still looking for that big key here in Mire. There are so many small keys.
Yeah, and the one thing, the Legend of Zelda is notorious for its maze-like things, or maze-like dungeons, having at least one sort of puzzle dungeon-esque thing. That would be what you're seeing here in Misery Mire. Misery Mire is definitely the puzzle dungeon of Link to the Past. I say that just because of, or one of the two, I would say, Ice Palace being the other one. Both of them have that sort of maze-like quality to them, and that would definitely be your sort of puzzle dungeon in Link to the Past.
So Andy had the option to either go to the big key chest normally, or to check this chest. He has 2 chests left that the big key could be in. So he gambled wrong in this one. He's going to want to go to the big key chest, unfortunately, which takes quite a while to activate.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie though, I love the mechanic of how you open some of the doors in Ice Palace. You pull the tongue on the statues. For some reason, I just find that adorably annoying and cool.
Speaking of big keys, Eunos just found the big key in the big key chest of Ice Palace as normal, so he'll be able to get the big key, the big chest. Based on his key count, he's not come across any items yet.
No, he has not. Unfortunately for Andy here, the shifting walls of doom not cooperating with him, but still does manage to get them all lit. So we're just going to have to sit here and shake, 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 shake.
So more block glitches going on both of these screens, actually. Andy was shooting his fire rod through the blocks as they were moving, because as a block starts to move, it turns into a normal sprite. It's no longer a barrier. Meanwhile, Eunos was using the hookshot to do the same thing, pass through a sprite that was no longer there.
And for those of you who like all the eyeball jokes from earlier, we're going to have plenty more, as we are now going to be taking care of Vitrios, which is literally a just pile of floating eyeballs in what appears to be a 3-week-old I was gonna go with a 3-week-old Jello mold from Thanksgiving, but
as you see here, Eunos has a gold sword, so he's able to do the straight up gold sword damage to the gold star puffs. And so he's not making a bad decision here. He's clearing out crystals that he can do, which is a great thing to do, but it's requiring him to dig through a lot of these dungeons, which is unfortunate for him, as Andy's about to collect his final crystal.
But again, we also have yet another dark room here. So Eunos having the lantern does give us the advantage of, hey, we can see what's going on!
Yeah, this is one of the harder ones to navigate. What he's doing, he's walking around trying to find where he gets stuck on a switch so that he can line up with it, and then he's going to step down and place a block upward.
Ice Rod was in the Lumberjack's cave.
I believe Eunos is starting his backtracking. The what did I miss? There are a lot of places that have single chest items everywhere along the way, and this can be quite the frustrating journey to try to find it.
It can be, though it looks like we lost signal for a second. No, that's just the reset button.
So I missed what happened. Why did Andy's console get reset?
I have no idea. Oh my god. It reset Look, he's missing all the crystals again.
He hasn't saved in quite a while.
What? Did he just... what?
He just lost all of that data.
Okay. So that just changes the complexion of everything.
I have to look and see what he has. I know he's coming to get Fire Rod right now, but he doesn't have Quake. I think that's the only thing he's missing that's still required.
Oh my.
The only thing he lost was Fire Rod, which he's getting here in Quake, which I don't think he realizes he needs to get into Mire.
He does, because he was just in Mire.
Well, I know. I mean, I don't think he realizes in his head that he doesn't have the Quake to get back into Mire real quickly.
Yeah, this puts a whole new spin on everything. This is completely, you know, I've seen it happen before in Zelda 1 randomizer races, but this is insane. So yeah, what we were talking about earlier with Andy's huge lead, this is going to give all of that back. Andy still has a definite chance on this because of the whole flippers debacle that Eunos is still dealing with, but this puts a whole new spin and a whole new complexion on this race.
Yeah, Andy's still in Crystal and Gold mode as soon as he goes and gets that Quake Medallion, which I wonder if he remembers that it's at the bat.
That's something you would remember, because the Bat Cave is not something you check all the time because you don't get powder all the time. So that's one of those locations where you would definitely remember it.
So he still has the huge advantage in that regard. He's still not going to venture and go get the silver arrow, so he's going to miss out on that, but I don't blame him at this point. He's trying to recover. This is crushing.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And for those who ask us to update the tracker, we would. But the problem is there's so much stuff that, you know, we can't see all at once every time Andy pauses, that it's very hard for us to update the tracker. So we will do our best to do that, but I can't guarantee anything. So it's just sort of better if we leave it here as it is, and we'll update things as we get to them. So yeah, this is very, very interesting. But again, even though Andy lost all that progress, he still only has to go and pick up the. Oh, he does have the Quake Medallion, so he did save it for the Quake Medallion, so he doesn't even need to get that. He has it. Okay. I just saw it in his menu, so he still technically is in Crystals and Go mode. So it's going to be very interesting to see if he can make up the time he lost there before Eunos discovers the location of the flippers. So this just turned a race that was effectively a blowout into a very interesting thing all of a sudden, because Eunos now has the advantage on crystals, and Eunos can get his 6th crystal right here in Misery Mire. The problem is, again, that 7th crystal hiding in the Swamp Palace, which without the flippers, Eunos cannot do. And you know, there's very few places left for Eunos to go into. Because of the nature of things, Eunos could attempt to finish Eastern Palace, which he probably will do. He could attempt to finish Tower of Hera, which is what he needs to do. And he is probably hoping and praying beyond a shadow of a doubt that the flippers are not hiding in Turtle Rock.
The worst thing that could happen to Eunos at this moment is... I'm catching up on the Yazahara chat, sorry. The worst thing that could happen to him right now is to find the Canis Maria while he's looking for these flippers, because he will assume Turtle Rock. I know I would, and that is a time sink, especially with a pendant dungeon.
Yeah, no, I definitely 100% agree with you, but I said I don't play this randomizer. I play Zelda 1 randomizer a lot, and whenever I get into a situation like this where I have to backtrack to dungeons, the one thing that I always do, and I'm pretty sure Eunos would subscribe to this theory as well, even if you think something's in, like, I'm going to use Zelda 1, for example, level 7 or level 8, which are the longest dungeons, sort of like Turtle Rock is the longest, one of the longer dungeons here. You never go there unless you need to. you would always check the things that are going to be easier and faster to check first. Tower of Hera and Eastern Palace are going to be much easier to check, much quicker to check, as Andy's getting his hover on again. So if I'm Eunos and I have to do my backtracking, I definitely backtrack to Hera and Eastern before I even think about touching Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and I'm almost positive that he knows that Eastern is full cleared. He doesn't have anything left to actually get from Eastern. But he may still peek his head in there because he's wondering. Lucky for him, he'll be able to peek in, hit the start menu, see that he doesn't have, I believe it was a compass on the Armos Knights, and be able to pop right back out. Andy is frazzled. If anybody was watching, he could not calm himself down to get that hover going. He even attempted to do a bomb jump, and he just...
Yeah, I've been in a race where my console's done that to me before, and it is very, very disheartening when you do that. So, I mean, I know exactly what he's feeling. You're mad at yourself. You're angry at everything, and it takes a while to calm down. And every little hiccup that goes wrong is just going to be, the absolute, worst in levels of frustrating. Unfortunately for Andy, now he doesn't have a bomb boast medallion because he hasn't gone back through Swamp yet. So he has to do Cold Stare the old-fashioned way with the Fire Rod. And he doesn't have enough magic necessarily to do all of it, so he's going to have to work on the Master Sword. Thankfully, he had enough Fire Rods to kill 2 of the 3 eyeball puffs, so he's just going to have to Master Sword the last one.
I give huge credits to Andy for keeping going with this. I know he's only an hour 25 in, but this is, yeah.
For those wondering, the lantern is in Skull Woods, where even before everything, Andy hadn't been to Skull Woods yet, so he never had the lantern.
We'll see where Eunos goes now. It looks like he might be beelining to the catfish. That would be my guess.
Well, that's going to be, bad for what we were discussing, because the catfish is the cane of Samaria.
Yeah. Let's see if Andy remembers where the big key is, because he only needs to find the big key and one small key here in Palace of Darkness, and then re-navigate those really dark rooms with the turtles. If fortunately for him, they were both on the right side, there's a shortcut with the hammer that he'd be able to take. It makes the Palace of Darkness quite quick.
Yeah, Eunos on his way here, he's going to now pick up the Cane of Samaria, and let's hope that doesn't affect his... And here's the other thing, with the Cane of Samaria, even if he's going up to Turtle Rock, he's going up to Death Mountain anyway, so it makes sense, at least to potentially, finish up Tower of Hera, because you're going to be right there. Eunos is skipping the mushroom because he can't get the mushroom because he doesn't have the flippers to swim to it. So Andy, go ahead and picking up the one key and the big key here in Palace of Darkness now. As was said earlier, all he has to do is navigate the horrible dark rooms. So this just became, again, I'm a little in awe as to everything we've seen right now, because you normally don't see something like that happen in a race. You don't normally see I've seen console resets in races. It's just something you don't see that often. So again, it makes things very, very interesting.
So fortunately for Eunos, like I said, Swamp Palace is a very quick palace if you don't need to dig through it. And since he has the red cane now, all he needs to do is find those flippers. So he has an advantage in that respect, with Andy still trying to recoup all those crystals he lost on that reset. So hopefully that doesn't elude Eunos for too long trying to find the flippers up there in Tower of Hera.
Andy's hoping that it takes him as long as it possibly can, because that's going to give him the advantage he needs to get back on track.
Andy going with the fire rod strat this time now that he brought it with him. He can actually see the turtle party that's taking place. But I guess this is more of a turtle surprise party, since they turn out the lights for you.
Turtle surprise party? What the shell, man, what the shell.
Eunos making quick work of Vitreous. He took those silver arrows and just knocked out every eyeball.
Might as well, you have the extra arrows, might as well do it.
So Vitreous is typically one of the strongest bosses in the game. He has, I believe 128 HP, which is the only boss to have over 100 HP. But he goes down to 2 silver arrows like a bag of rocks.
Like a bag of rocks. Interesting analogy.
And here's the question for Eunos. Is he going to Hera?
Based on where he is, I would say yes.
Because this would close the gap.
Immensely. Immensely.
In fact,
yep, he's finishing up Hera.
In fact, we may see both of them go to the Swamp Palace at the same time.
Yeah, but Eunos going to Hera here and picking up the flippers, that's going to give Eunos a decided advantage, for mostly because gold sword, silver arrows. Again, the other good thing for Andy here in Swamp is, he knows he doesn't have to get anything out of Swamp. He can just, make his way directly to Argus and be like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not dealing with this anymore. I'm going to Argus. I'm done. And then once Andy goes ahead and picks up this crystal, he'll be right back where he was, because he still needed to finish up Misery Mire and to do Skullwoods as well. So, this is going to be a whole lot closer of a race than we thought it was going to be 15 minutes ago.
Oh, definitely. So after Andy finishes up here, he still has which dungeons to finish? Ice Palace? No, he did that one.
No, it'd be Mire and Skull.
Oh, he hasn't done Mire yet. Okay.
And Eunos is going to be kicking himself as Moldorum drops the flippers that he needs.
Yeah, this is definitely a Chris Rage Rod moment. Eunos trying to take a shortcut to Swamp and then realized, oops.
Yeah, this definitely makes things interesting as Andy is continuing his way through the Swamp Palace, as Eunos is going to be making his way there. So again, Eunos is going to have the advantage now. if for nothing else. Here's the big thing is, had Andy not reset accidentally here, he would be right about this point, I would say, entering into Ganon's tower. So he would definitely have the advantage here. So it's been a very interesting turn of events so far.
Oh, he would have been way past Ganon's tower. He was on his very last crystal to get. He was 2 rooms away from getting his 7th crystal. He would have been... He probably would be entering Ganon right now, based on his play, if he didn't get that reset.
You know, fair.
I love the chroma key on Eunos' side that's going on. The Amarak color is just the right shade for that water.
Hey, you know, it's cool. You gotta love it.
Here's another advantage that Eunos is going to have is not only does Andy still have to go back into Mire and do it all again in the dark, mind you, but he's got to do it all with Master Sword, where Eunos has his Butter Sword. He's just going to swipe Argus's eyes once each.
And guys in the chat, I would like to point out that I have every time here said accidental reset, which a console crash qualifies as an accidental reset. So I'm purposely phrasing my words that way, and I know exactly what I'm saying. Accidental reset and crash are the exact same thing.
Yeah, I don't know if it was his console directly, or the SD to SNES, or even just like a corrupted read of the SD card. Because all those things are possible. These guys are both playing on Super Nintendos with an SD to SNES adapter.
Yeah, but Andy now has taken care of Argus, and he is going to be making his way back to where we have here. I think he's still got Mire and Skullwoods, I believe, to take care of now.
Yeah, Skullwoods isn't such a bad one either. A lot like Swamp, it flies by when you don't have to stop to get anything. Yeah, we've seen our fair share of cartridge tilts going on in randomizer races.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mythical coming in the chat with probably the best line that I would quote. Pretty sure it was a wardrobe malfunction. That is my new favorite reason for a reset. Why'd you reset? Wardrobe malfunction. But Eunos is going to go ahead and pick up his 7th and final crystal.
Gyptos are not being nice to Andy right now.
No, I mean, they just want to make sure that Link gets his mummy. But now we're going to go ahead and take a look-see at Mothula here and see how well Andy can kill Mothula for round 2. But we are going ahead here and making our way up to Ganon's Tower. So this is the chat interaction part of the stream. There are a total of, I believe, 22 chests before in the bottom basement section of Ganon's Tower. So everybody go ahead and get your guesses in for which item the big key is going to be. You have choice between items 1 and 22. We have again, I say chest, but one of the items is the bonk item, so that does count. So get your guesses in now.
So Andy, making very quick work of Skullwoods, is going to pop back into Mire. Hopefully he remembers where the big key is. Unfortunately, if I'm remembering correctly, it was the big key chest, which is Not a fun one to have to go back to. He's gonna have to run the normal speedrun route of this dungeon.
Yeah, I believe it was, because I remember we were making a joke about taking forever for the wall to move.
Now, what you saw there with Andy just now is a very heads-up play. That pterodactyl normally would be frozen by Ether, but since he's opening it with Quake, Quake does not disrupt his flight pattern. So he would fly over Andy repeatedly and take down his health. And Andy wants these beam swords for this room right here, and you'll see why.
Very, very nice room there, because that room can be a pain with the lasers and the whiz ropes, and anything firing beams at you is a bad thing, all right? Chest 1 has a key for Eunos. Chest 2 is the big key, so for everyone who guessed chest 2, you are correct. This is going to be a very, very fast Ganon's Tower, and that is the absolute worst thing that Andy could see there. It was getting the key in the second chest.
Yeah, worse for Andy, but this is the ideal Ganon's Tower that everybody who ever plays Randomizer wants. He only had to visit one room to get everything he needs to progress up the tower. He'll get his other key from the Baby Moldorm later on, and that's it.
Now, coming up here is one of the skills you have to come up with is a randomizer. Is how do you kill mimics? The correct answer is shoot them in the face with an arrow.
Eunos realizing that they're... Oh no, he despawned them! There are 5 arrows in that room that he just despawned. And there is nowhere else for him to get any right now.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting.
This is big.
So now he has to make his way through the left side of Ganon's Tower and pick up some arrows. So, oh wow, this race just keeps getting crazier and crazier here.
I have never seen those arrows actually despawn.
I didn't know you could.
Yeah, I think it had to do with the mimics drop in the previous room. That's the only thing I can guess. Or it was the fireball, the lasers being shot at the same moment that he lifted the pot.
Yeah, either way,
this game is well programmed.
Yeah, sprite overload. Yeah, Andy now back in the dark room of Misery Mire where he was last time. So again, this arrow despawn is huge for Andy. It's exactly what he needed. It's the kind of, unfortunate series of events that he needed to have a chance to get back into this. So this makes everything, wow.
That is a good point by the chat. What Eunos just had to do was mirror. Mirroring resets the entire dungeon and all the pot items. Well, so he would have been able to mirror and just come right back in there.
Well, the thing is,
I guess
mirror.
Yeah, he would have to get past the first mimics. I forgot about them. So that doesn't help him.
No. Yeah, this is very, very intriguing and interesting here. There are a bunch of things, the running joke when you're watching like big marathons is, hey, that's never happened before. This is definitely one of those scenarios where it's happened before. People have, consoles have crashed, people have despawned things, but for all of them to happen in the same race, it's definitely in the lines of, well, that's really never happened before.
Now, I don't think Eunos knows this because I don't think he's very practiced in the No Major Glitches run. There's a 10-arrow skull pot in that warp room. Very easy to get to. The problem he's having is he's spending all these keys trying to find these arrows. He wants at least one key when he leaves. Meanwhile, Andy just going to town.
Yeah, using the cape and just completely owning the eyeballs. Now, here's the question: is it worth going through all this trouble to pick up the arrows, or at this point is Silverless the better option? And there's his arrows. He's got them.
Well, for Eunos, I would come get these arrows in this room. There's 10 in that pot right there. Or I guess it's 5. For the sole reason that they're there, and he's got to fight through 4 mimics still. So he's going to spend 4 arrows, and it's best just to be safe and have that extra arrow. So now he can get through Ganon very easily.
Yeah, but we have ourselves, a very intriguing set of circumstances here because Andy is making his way to Ganon's tower now, and if he goes right, which he probably will, to check those 2 easy chests, he's also going to get the key. Eunos is definitely going to have the advantage because he's got silver arrows and gold sword, but we now have ourselves a legitimate race.
Yeah, Andy is very proficient at Ganon's tower. He is one of the best, and it absolutely helps that he can just hover past Moldorm too. He doesn't need to fight Moldorm 2 at all.
Also true. And that, again, that's going to give him a decided advantage over Eunos, because Eunos is going to have to fight Moldorm 2 to get the hook shot. So Andy going ahead and taking the Turtle Rock teleporter. Eunos falling off the ledge here in the Cannonball Run, which I'm not sure if that's the official name for it, but I'm naming it that now because it's awesome.
Yeah, it's the Ganon Ball Z.
Oh, come on. Cannonball Run is so much better. Oh, Andy going off the last hookshot chest real quick that he forgot.
I don't know what he could be. I guess he could be looking for silver arrows, but
yeah,
this one I'm pretty sure he knows is a potion. Eunos just using that Caden of Burna to his advantage. Why not?
Hey, you have it, might as well.
That's one of the great things about Randomizer is you have all the extra items that you normally wouldn't, so you get to see such crazy uses for them.
Yeah, Andy gonna go ahead and pick up that potion, and I like the call there because he probably needs it for the Ganon fight because he doesn't have Lantern, so he needs to use the Fire Rod for the torches. So picking up the blue potion there is actually probably, he needs it for the Ganon fight.
There was another heads-up play right there that I don't think many people would appreciate. These Lionels, they don't take damage from anything lower than the Tempered Sword. So Andy would have just gotten wrecked by them just now. Instead, he pulled out his hammer and smacked them in the face.
Yeah, I do want to point out
he does not take anything.
No, I do want to point out, though, that Eunos opting to take out the Moldorms with his sword, not wanting to risk using the arrows after the debacle earlier. Andy, meanwhile, has picked up the big key, so he is now on his way up the tower ahead. And we got a race, everybody. We got ourselves a race. Oh no, Eunos forgot to pick up the skull pot. He can't light the torches here. Does manage to get it in time, just barely. Oh, no. All right, he does manage to get it. Wow. Eunos having all kinds of, oh my God, moments there. Forgetting to lift the skull pot up, so having to go back around and light torches twice.
I think that may have played to his advantage because of the timing cycle he was on. If you enter those stairs at the exact same moment that previous door closes, a lot like when you fight blind, doors are broken in this game, and when things happen at the same time as doors, things really break. It actually despawns every sprite in Ganon's tower, so you can't fight Moldorm, and you can't fight Aghanim.
Hey, Eunos picking up the red mail, which is a nice little bonus. Speaking of Moldorm, here it is. Eunos making quick work of Moldorm with a nice little charge attack here.
Yeah, there he was. The required chest is a compass. Andy already threw the gauntlet on his way to Land Molas.
Putting that fire rod to good use there in the Landmola is a very, very efficient Landmola kill.
Eunos not getting the best pattern here from these Aghanim.
No, not at all. But the one thing that I'm going to say about the Aghanim patterns here is the worse patterns that Eunos gets, the better chances Andy has. Although, considering Eunos is at Aghanim right now, it's not the best chances in the world. I mean, there's always the chance that Ganon decides he wants to high roll driver Eunos, or that Eunos falls off the edge somehow. But
yeah, as we pointed out, Eunos has a decided advantage coming up. He will only have to hit Ganon 6 times with the Butter Sword in the first 2 phases, and he'll knock him out with the arrows in the second phases. While Andy, he's going to have to do 12 spins in each of the first 2 phases and 24 in the final phase in order to finish this game out. It would take Eunos falling at least twice to make this close. I think Andy's still checking a couple chests here and there, looking to see if maybe silver arrows were just laying around.
Yeah, the fun part's going to be in the final phase of Ganon. He's actually going to get told where the silver arrows are, and he's probably going to kick himself for realizing they were in desert. Andy also skipping the red mail chest. He doesn't need it, so yeah, looks like he's just going to go for hover here, and does manage to hover across, does not fall, not a problem. So skipping Moldorm there is absolutely wonderful. So, where at least it's not one of those things where, one person's finishing and the person's entering Ganon's tower. We legitimately, certain things can go wrong, and we've seen things go wrong here in this set here. And yeah, Eunos does manage to get the lantern glitch with the fire rod, which is hard to do.
And he gets a double to finish it off. That was beautiful.
That was insane. Like, this race was absolutely crazy. I mean, we had it starting off where there was a potential for someone to be sub 130. Then, hardware malfunctions happened, and we still had a race because flippers were. This was, the amount of craziness that just happened here in this race. Sort of dancing a little bit. Not sure what he's doing here in Ganon's room.
I have no idea. He hasn't said anything in SRL chat. I think he's pulling up Andy's stream to see where he is. We may see him go ahead and concede. Which is, he knows Andy's cart crashed after he had gotten 6 crystals, and he's willing to give Andy the win.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, that's a stand-up move by Eunos there. I mean, if that's actually what's going on.
I don't think he's doing it to taunt. I mean, at this point, that would just be
no.
cruel.
I know Eunos well enough. No, that's not the type of person he is at all.
Exactly. Yeah, this is definitely Eunos conceding, and bravo. I mean, stand up.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, all things considered, this is a tournament first and foremost. And, there are a lot of people who, if that situation happened to them, would be like, sorry, it's your own, it's, nothing I can control, but I'm going to take the win. Eunos taking the high road here and, still completing his game, still doing everything he needs to do, but opting to just, take the high road here because of everything. That is, well, speaking of crazy things, Andy just died to Ganon. So we're going to have to try fight round 2 here.
Like I said, this is quite the tough fight. He's got to get 12 spins off because his Master Sword has to equal a Tempered Sword swing. And the Master Sword does not do any damage when you swing it. So this is quite the battle. Especially with Green Mail.
Yeah, green mail, master sword, silverless. This is a true testament to speedrun, and Andy can do it. Andy can absolutely do this because I've seen him do runs of this game RBO, reverse boss order. So Andy can definitely do this.
Yeah, I believe reverse boss order. He has 4 hearts at this point, or maybe just 3, with the exact same setup he has now. Hookshot, master sword, and green mail.
And the other thing we have to remember is Andy does have that blue potion, but he can't use it until he needs the magic. And Eunos putting the windfish up on the channel there, getting the little Link's Awakening weapons. Whoa, you do that way too well. I love the constant spamming of the windfish.
Yeah, that Link has red mail in his windfish.
Yeah. I would like to point out that for nobody who knows the silverless kill, basically what has to happen here for the silverless kill is Ganon is vulnerable to be hit at the exact moment he is teleporting away. So what Andy's going to have to do is the exact moment Ganon teleports, as you see there, he's going to have to spin the sword to get the hit. It's going to take a while for him to do that, because the Master Sword is only dealing, effectively 1 hit, as opposed to the Tempered or the Gold Sword dealing, 2 or 3 or however many it's going to do. So the fact that Andy is going Master Sword silverless here is absolutely insane.
Yeah, so the glitch is that Ganon is vulnerable for it. It's a small frame. It's 3 to 4 frames, something like that nature, where you can swing the sword and hit him even. With the Tempered Sword, that's 12 swings of the Tempered Sword. No, sorry, 24 swings of the Tempered Sword and 12 swings of the Butter Sword. But by spinning, you increase that frame window. Makes it a lot easier to nail him, because he's invulnerable right before he's vulnerable. So his Master Sword is just doing the Tempered Sword swings. That's why he needs to get the 24. The Tempered Sword and the Butter Sword, since the Butter Sword maxes out the damage, is doing the... you gotta get 12 of those. And he goes ahead and drinks that blue potion, which I don't blame him.
Yeah, while Andy now going ahead and pick up the blue potion, so now he at least has a free hit to deal with. Before, on the 2 hearts, he had to do this completely damageless. Now, by taking the blue potion to refill his magic, he at least has a little bit of leeway.
Andy.Duns and Eunos.Duns right behind him.
That is absolutely insane. Yeah, that...
Okay, I don't know if Andy knows about Eunos stepping aside, so do we want to bring it up in the interview or not?
That is...
I don't want Andy to feel bad.
That's... Here is my thought on this entirely. That is not my or yours to bring up. That is Eunos' to bring up, 100%. So I say this is 100%. Yeah. So.
Hey, Andy.
Hey.
GG. Sorry about what happened. That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So, what do you think of overall otherwise?
It was pretty good. I should have gotten Fire Rod like 30
so.
minutes before I did, but other than that,
hey, Andy.
It was fine.
Yeah, when you peeked into Meyer area right after you got the flute. Sorry about what happened. Going to mirror and check sucks. It, but
yeah. I was going to, and then I completely forgot. And then
the hook shot.
And then apparently, I should have also gotten silver arrows, but I mirrored by accident when I went through desert the first time.
Yeah, it was the room right above where you mirrored.
Yeah, because I looked at my map and I was like, oh, I don't have either the compass or the map, so I just mirrored and I'm like, wait. And then I was like, whatever, screw it, I'll just keep going.
Greetings, Eunos.
Hello.
You're a little bit low.
I'll try to get as close to my mic as I can.
Oh, you're better.
There we go.
Okay.
What do you think?
About what?
The whole race in general.
Oh man, the catfish? Screw that guy. I hate that catfish. I would have quit right there, honestly. I went back on something I said. If I had the, I'd quit the race before I had that catfish give me something good. So, sorry.
Yeah, I was dreading that because you were still mixing the flippers. So
Yeah.
when he gave you the red cane, I was like, I hope he doesn't go to Turtle Rock.
Oh no. No, and that was I think that would have been pretty silly. I just missed the flippers because I whiffed that bomb jump or whatever in Hera, and then I was like, okay, I'm leaving. After the Moon Pearl.
Dang.
So, you know, whole game without those flippers, and like, oh man. Well, all right.
Yeah, but you didn't slow down. You kept getting those crystals, which was the right move there.
Yeah.
My routing was really good minus the fire rod. Like every decision I made early was pretty good.
Oh right. I felt really lucky when I ran to the fire rod the way I did.
I
could check the
when I got flute, I meant to mirror at Mire and check what was on the ledge, and then I completely forgot. So I checked the entirety of Palace of Darkness, Thieves Town, and Swamp. And then,
Nice.
you know, my console resetting right at the end of my last crystal dungeon was nice.
Yeah. Because I think unless somebody else could tell me otherwise, I think the chests that I didn't check were the one chest in ice and I don't know, maybe there was one other one besides Turtle Rock, but yeah, looking for the flippers. Okay. Oh yeah. Good race.
Good race.
You got anything to add, TGE?
No, not entirely. I mean, great show from both runners here. Again, I just want to throw out the fact that, you know, Green Tunic, Master Sword, Silverless Ganon kill, that was a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, I shouldn't have died, but it was fun.
Yeah, no, but what I want to add is we have got an absolute, smorgasbord of races here coming up for you the rest of the day. Not just here on Speed Gaming, but also over on Speedruns Live. We're going to have, way too many Link to the Past randomizer races for me to count. We're also going to have some Ori and the Blind Forest races coming up here on Speed Gaming. But I do want to bring up one thing because it is relevant because Andy is here in the interview. If you like seeing, Silverless, Master Sword, Green Tunic, Ganon earlier today, tune in here tonight at Speed Gaming at 10 p.m. where Andy's going to be racing again, and hopefully we'll have silver arrows this time. But I just want to give you guys a heads up. That's going to be our nightcap here on Speed Gaming. We're going to open the day with Andy. We're going to close the day with Andy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, Andy, Eunos, either one of you guys have anything else you would like to add?
Hopefully my console doesn't reset later this evening.
Yeah, that would be pretty ironic if it happened twice, and I really don't want to have to call another console reset.
I don't know if it was like my power supply's loose, but I'm probably just gonna use my other power supply just in case.
Well, you've got about 8 hours to figure out what's going on, so.
And shout outs to Eunos.
Yeah, it would have been unfair to Miria and Dan, the other players in our bracket thingy, for me to get a free win off basically somebody who should probably beat everybody. So.
All right. Well, if that is going to be it from all of our runners, please, by the way, in chat, if you haven't done so already, make sure you follow both of our runners here. The gameplay is great, the sportsmanship is great, so please make sure you show them some love by following both of them here if you haven't done so already. So with that, that is going to be it for us here for right now. So please, coming up next here on Speed Gaming in about 2 hours, we're going to have some Ori and the Blind Forest races. We've got a 4 p.m., a 6 p.m., and a 7 p.m. Ori and the Blind Forest races all coming up here on Speed Gaming. At 8 p.m. tonight here on Speed Gaming, we're going to have a Link to the Past randomizer. And as I mentioned, at 10 p.m., we're also going to have a Link to the Past randomizer. In addition to that, there is a ton of other Link to the Past randomizer races coming up throughout the day. So if you hit !ALTTP, you'll get all the information on that with the schedule. And hopefully the restream locations will be up there. So with that, on behalf of everybody who has made this restream possible, our magnificent tech guru Fiesel in the back room, surrounded by 17,000 monitors and 1 cup of water, for my commentator partner in the booth, Dark Edition 1184, for both of our runners, Andy and Eunos, and for everybody sitting there in the chat who made this a very, very fun run to commentate. Thank you all very much for watching, and I am the Greenleaf Effect, reminding everybody that no matter what it is you are currently doing, it is always the correct answer to blame me, and we will see you all later tonight. Good night, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are.